Hello, you're reading with Jimmy. This is Jimmy, and we're reading Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Chapter 3, The Caucus Race, and a Long Tail. We left off with the mouse on pages 38 to 39, with the mouse telling his long, sad tale, and Alice puzzling about why it called it a long, sad tale. So the mouse was speaking so that her idea, this is very important, her idea, her is a pronoun for Alice, of the tale was something like this. Now I want you to notice what happens here. This technique, remember I told you last time, was a story within a story. So this is a story in a story. And this is Alice's idea of the narration while the mouse is talking. We're going to read this story in a story, and we're going to break from Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, though this is part of the adventure. Fury said to a mouse. Now, you have to understand what fury is, and I encourage you to look it up. What is fury? Fury says that he met in the house, let us both go to law. So we immediately start feeling confusion in here. We didn't read that in the entire reading, I don't believe, because it's too long of a tale. But in the entire chapter reading, we probably omitted this tale. But I want to spend some time reading it now. Fury said to a mouse that he met in the house. You see, there's all of a sudden, we've got some rhyming going on. There's a rhyming, mouse, house. Let us both go to law, colon. Remember punctuation I told you in the beginning of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland is very important. Colon after law. I will prose, not prose, but prosecute. See the dash? That's a hyphen. That means you continue. The narrator is breaking off the word, so we have to finish the word because it's prose, which is an interesting thing because that's what we're reading as prose. You can look it up. But I will prosecute you, hyphen. See, there's that long dash. Come. I'll take no denial, colon. We must have the trial. There's that rhyming again. No denial, we must have the trial, semicolon. Now the type gets smaller and smaller. For really, this morning, I've nothing to do, said the mouse to the cur. To the cur. What's a cur? Let me highlight that. Cur. Such a trial, dear sir, cur sir, will no jury or judge would be wasting our breath. I'll be the judge. I'll be the jury, said the cunning old fury. I'll try the whole cause and condemn you to death. Holy moly. Holy moly. What's going on here? The mouse is telling a tale of fury and the mouse, and fury is obviously going to be the judge and jury and condemn the mouse to death. Oh, this is a sad story indeed. At the end of the story, the mouse says, "You are not attending," said the mouse to Alice, severely. See, severely? What are you thinking of? So apparently, while he's telling his story, he feels that Alice is not paying attention, like some of you may not be paying attention. But that's okay. I don't mind. And she goes, I beg your pardon, said humbly. You had got to the fifth bend, I think. Fifth bend. What the heck is she talking about? Well, if you count the bends in the tail, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Alice is paying very close attention to the tail as he weaves his tail. Tails are woven sometimes, aren't they? And the mouse says, I had not. And he's sharply, and he's angry. He's really angry. A knot, said Alice. And here we go again, ladies and gentlemen. Before it was tail and tail, and now it's knot and knot. A knot, said Alice, ready to make herself useful and looking anxiously around her. Oh, let me help you undo it. She thinks the mouse has turned himself or tangled himself into a knot. I shall do nothing of the sort, the mouse says, getting up and walking away. You insult me by talking such nonsense. What are you talking about? And he accuses Alice of talking nonsense. Who's talking nonsense, ladies and gentlemen? If you're like me, you're feeling like this is a lot of nonsense, but it's not. It's not nonsense. There's a rhyme and a reason to this story within a story. Anyway, he continues. I didn't mean it, said Alice. You get so easily offended. And the mouse growls in reply. Rawr. Please come back. Finish your story, Alice called after it. And the others all joined in chorus. Yes, please do. Oh. But the mouse only shook his head impatiently and walked a little quicker. So the mouse has had it. They're not paying attention to him. He's leaving. There's a misunderstanding going on here. Some type of misunderstanding is happening. They don't understand what the mouse is saying. The mouse is ticked off at them. And then the Lowry speaks up, right? What a pity it wouldn't stay, the Lowry said, as soon as it's quite out of sight. The Lowry waits until the mouse is out of sight to say what he says. What a pity it wouldn't stay. An old crab. Now, here's a new character. Now we got a crab here, right? An old crab took an opportunity of saying to her daughter, my dear, let this be a lesson. You should never lose your temper. Hold your tongue, Ma, said the young crab a little snappishly. You're enough to try the patience of an oyster. So now we have a little dialogue between a crab and her daughter. And she's saying that what you just witnessed, daughter, is a lesson never to lose your temper. Did someone lose their temper? I think the mouse lost his temper. Whatever happened, he lost his temper because he felt, A, Alice wasn't paying attention, and B, when she said she was, even though what she said was true, the mouse didn't believe her. He said not, and misunderstood not. He gets ticked off and walks away. So there's obviously he lost his temper. He's leaving. Because Alice also says, and she's noticed this before, that they get easily offended. Are you easily offended? Do you get easily offended at the slightest thing? Or do you wait until someone really offends you? What is it? How do you get offended? These are very important concepts. So anyway, she talks about the patience of an oyster. Why? And suddenly we're introduced to oysters. Are oysters patient? Do you know anything about oysters? I put a note on the bottom of the page that I'd like to refer you to now. Because pearls come from oysters. And pearls can develop in a period of 6 months. Larger oysters can take up to 4 years to develop a pearl. I don't know about you, but I would say oysters are pretty patient. To sit there for 6 months and develop a pearl, I don't know anybody. I don't know a human being who's patient enough to do that. Although, let me think about this. Every woman waits 9 months to give birth. Sometimes, yeah, that might be right. Patience. And then suddenly Alice says, I wish I had Diana here. You know who Diana is, remember? That's her cat. She would soon fetch that mouse back. Well, I think she'd do more than fetch the mouse back. She'd eat the mouse. But of course, none of the other creatures around her know who Diana is. So the Lowry asks her, and who is Diana, if I may venture to ask the question? Now, notice when this Lowry or the dodo or any of these creatures speak, sometimes they speak very pompously. He could say, who's Diana? That's the American way. Who's Diana? Instead, he says, who is Diana, if I might venture to ask the question? Alice replied eagerly, She's very excited now because Diana's, about her pet. Diana's our cat, and she's such a capital one. Capital. Oh, that's an interesting word. Capital one. We don't say that about it. It's capital. It sounds like a British term to me, but we'll find out. She's a capital one for catching mice and can't think. And oh, I wish you could see her after the birds. She'll eat a little bird as soon as look at it. Uh-oh. Alice forgets again who she's talking to. Or did she? So she forgets that most of these creatures, except for the crab, are really birds. And she's saying that Diana, her cat, would eat them as soon as look at them. This speech caused remarkable sensation among the party. Some of the birds hurried off at once. And one old magpie, we're going to see what the magpie does in the next chapter. This is the joy of language. When you go back and you read this the first time, if you were to read it quickly, neatly, efficiently, you wouldn't gain this type of understanding, would you? I don't think I would. So I want you got some homework today. You got some homework. You got to go up and look what a cur is, C-U-R. You have to look what fury is. Well, I'm not going to tell you everything. And then we can come back and discuss it. And especially go and reread The Mouse's Tale. This is Jimmy. You're reading with Jimmy. My email is jimmy@readingwithjimmy.com, jimmy@readingwithjimmy.com. And this is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Talk to you soon. Thank you so much.